What is going on, everybody? Nasdorachi coming back at you again today with another episode for Dragon Ball Gaming, but not Legends this time. What we're talking about today instead will be the Dragon Ball game, the Project Z action RPG. Some of the announcements that we heard last night at the Red Bull Final Summoning Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tournament for 2018-2019. We could cover the trailer that we got there and kind of review that in a live fashion. We as well can get into talking about the company that's developing the game, some of the other projects they've been working on recently, some of the games they put out in the past. They have a little bit over 20 years worth of experience making video games, so there's definitely some good stuff to note there. And then we can finish up with, I guess, a brief kind of time-traveling history back through the tied connection between RPGs and Dragon Ball just in general. It goes all the way back, as far as I know, to Super Nintendo, maybe even a little bit further, but there have been a couple entries along the way that have been action RPGs as well, you guys. This is not the first one. So join us on this adventure as we jump in and sit back, relax. I will be here to guide you on this process here. I'll try and make it not too long as well. Alright, you guys, so hopping into the first thing that we can cover here, this is just going to be some of the surface level information, the trailer. This is just an IGN article here, which is just a good way for us to check things out again at just kind of a surface level. So of course we have the working title for the game as Project Z. This is obviously not going to be the final name for the game itself, but it's just something for them to have, you know, again, as a working title. It's an action RPG that looks to follow the story of Goku and Dragon Ball Z, and from the trailer, which we'll check out, it does seem to start potentially a tiny bit before Raditz arrival and the Saiyan saga from Dragon Ball Z itself. Not Dragon Ball or Super, we're starting from the roots. And for me personally, you guys, a little bit of opinion being interjected in here, I don't personally mind. As long as the gameplay is good, it's fun, it's engaging, and it's a deeply involved game, I don't really care what they involve or want to show off, because this is just a starting point for a new series. You know, if it's anything like, again, diving into the company that makes this game, they also made the Naruto Shippuden series. That's a game that's many, many installments deep, so there's plenty of room for expansion on this game, and who knows, maybe even your stats or character will carry over from one save file into the next. There's tons of stuff that we can expect, and we can cover a little bit more of that when we get into the company that makes the game here in a little bit. But the first and most important thing we get to see on the list is coming in the next sentence, is that the game is headed to PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC via Steam. It's not included here, but that's where it's coming later this year. So it's a 2019 release so far. That's, you know, again, something we've known already, but the important thing is Nintendo Switch is not mentioned in this list of releases here. I previously had thought that it would probably come out on Switch as well. We don't know if that's going to be a thing now because it wasn't mentioned. Maybe it'll be a delayed release. Maybe they won't get it at all. You know, you have to remember as well that Nintendo is getting the Super Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission coming very soon. So that might have something to do with the, you know, bureaucratic reasons as to why they might not get this game, but they're getting a different one, or, you know, whatever would have you. They do have exclusivity on that one right there. And I'll definitely be trying that one out as well. Hopefully they're both really good games. But, okay, so no Nintendo Switch yet. Of course, it was revealed again during the Red Bull Final Summoning for the Dragon Ball FighterZ World Tournament. I believe Kazunoko came out with a W in that tournament, so congratulations to him, even though he'll probably never see or understand this video right here. It was really fun to watch over the past 2 days, you guys. That's why I didn't have any Legends content come out. I was watching that almost all day on both days. And unfortunately, Hook Gang God, Sonic Fox, the two top 8 American entrants, they fell out before even, I believe, the top 4 bracket got started. So, unfortunate, but at least America took the W at EVO. So we at least have that for our title belt there. Back to the important stuff here. The game seems to follow the story of Goku, and it will see players discovering the story of the mysterious Dragon Balls and joining Goku and fellow warriors in the never-ending search for the ultimate fight. Again, seems pretty standard, very, very ambiguous. There's not really too much detail there. But it does kind of lead into the fact that I do think that the main playable character will be Goku. And that leads us to another important point. It's stated that this is going to be an action RPG, but if you're playing as Goku as the main character, potentially some others here and there for episodes or little story tangents, it doesn't seem like there's going to be a whole lot of room for multiplayer or online multiplayer in this game. So we're going to have to keep a close eye on that and see what the situation is with that. It seems like they're going in a vastly different direction than Xenoverse, with no create a character being mentioned here. It's highly implied that we're going to be playing as Goku. Where does that leave room for multiplayer besides potentially having other players load in as other party members like Yamcha or Tien or Vegeta, Kid Gohan, Piccolo, depending on what story arc you happen to be in? So maybe there's the potential for co-op play there, but then again, if you're playing an RPG battle with Goku versus Frieza, Super Saiyan 1-on-1, I don't know if multiplayer is really going to be a thing in this game, you guys. So again, that's something we're really going to have to keep our eye on here, but it doesn't seem like this is going to be an MMO or anything really like that. So hopefully we don't get something that's too similar to Battle of Z, or even worse, Dragon Ball Z Sagas. We'll go over both of those in a little bit as well, but we want to veer in a different direction than those games. Something maybe more like Asura's Wrath, which we'll get into that in a little bit as well. An excellent game made by the same company. So there is still a light at the end of the tunnel, even though there may not be a lot of multiplayer action. Maybe couch co-op, but maybe not a whole lot of multiplayer action going on in this game. So the revealed trailer featured such characters as Goku, Gohan, Piccolo, Vegeta, Frieza, and many more, as well as iconic scenes and locations from Dragon Ball Z. All were showcased. Project Z, of course, the working title for the game, is being developed by CyberConnect 2, the developers of such games as the Naruto Shippuden series, the .hack series, and it will feature both Japanese and English voiceovers. Also not mentioned here, the company also has made a couple of mobile games, like a Final Fantasy VII racing mobile game, as well as they made the Asura's Wrath, which we'll get into Asura's Wrath a little bit more when we get to the manufacturer of the game, the developers of the game. But very good games that they've made here. I know that, Naruto is not something I'm super interested in, but that Shippuden series was played by a reasonable amount of players, and to my knowledge has pretty good reviews on it. And the .hack series has been going on for almost 20 years, you guys. It's been around for literally like forever. I believe PlayStation 1 in like 2003 is when it first showed up or something like that. Maybe even before that. But so again, we have a very fleshed out game developer here working on it. That's really all that this IGN article has to say about the game itself. It goes on, talks about Fighter Z and the next DLC for that. Of course, Jiren, the new Broly, the new Gogeta, and Videl and Saiyaman were the characters that were announced first for Fighter Z. It's pretty cool, but we'll stick with the Project Z stuff here. So, jumping right into the trailer here, you guys. This is what was premiered last night by Sean Schemmel and Chris Sabat at the tournament itself. They came up on stage to give a special Bandai announcement. Of course, it starts off showing off Xenoverse and Fighters as two more recent previous entries in the Dragon Ball gaming hemisphere. And now we have this game being announced here as well. Now, it doesn't show off a whole lot of gameplay except for potentially at the very, very end. But it does have beautifully looking cutscenes here, these renders, the graphics. I don't know if it's Unreal 4 engine or not, but this company is known, if you're familiar with the Naruto Shippuden games, they are known for injecting a lot of stuff directly from the anime and still images, stuff like that, that just really pay homage to whatever, whatever situation that they're, covering. So I am pretty excited about that. It does look beautiful. Now, whether or not these are mostly all just cutscenes or to what degree they'll be playable is also up to interpretation. Now, going by Asura's Wrath, that entire game was almost like a playable cutscene with tons of QTEs. You were fighting enormous enemies and just a lot of, button combos that were fairly easy to memorize but hard to master. A lot of countering and blocking mechanics. So, just again, if it's anything like Asura's Wrath, it does have a lot of potential to be a really, really fun game. But you can see here again, It's just basically playing a lot of beautiful looking cutscenes just sampled directly from major plot points in the anime itself. It seems to cut off right here at Frieza and the Super Saiyan stuff we have going on. And I'm going to pause it real quick because right after this point is what seems to be like a potential gameplay camera perspective. We're going to see Goku just kind of walking around. The camera's panned to be looking over his shoulder in like a third-person perspective. And it seems like this could be like an alpha footage situation of the way the camera is going to be structured with Goku just kind of walking around. So check this out right here. You can see those different just panned camera shots of the character walking, and it just seems to be the character model walking there. So I could believe if that was some type of just kind of pre-gameplay footage right there, but of what we're going to be kind of looking at. And man, it does look pretty. I will say that. It's just hopefully nothing like the Saga's game. Ugh. So that was the trailer right there. We examined, the most important part of the end, made a couple comparisons. Again, it's going to have a lot of cutscenes in it. To what degree the RPG mechanics and whether or not there's any multiplayer, that's going to be a huge factor again. You're just playing as Goku and other core characters. I don't see a whole lot of room for online multiplayer, but it remains to be seen, you guys. We really don't know. They could find some clever way to integrate it. I just know that Asura's Wrath, I don't believe, had really any multiplayer going on. Maybe couch co-op or something like that, but that would be really about it. A lot of their other games aren't super multiplayer either. Now, we talk about their games. Another important thing to get into here is the company that is developing all of this. They are, let's see here, bloop, we'll turn on the display capture, the infinite windows into infinity. But yeah, we'll go over here to CyberConnect 2, and hopefully that looks good on OBS. But CyberConnect 2 Kabushiki Gaisha Saiba Konekuto Tsu. I know I probably butchered the absolute hell out of that. Video game development studio, most known for its work on the .hack series, which again has ranged back many, many years, along with a series of fighting games based on the Naruto franchise. They're also known for creating the spiritual Little Tail Bronx series. And this is another important point right here that I didn't really remember until I went to make this video. They were involved with Square Enix on the Final Fantasy VII remake. And we actually got some like pre-render, just alpha gameplay footage of what Final Fantasy VII could potentially end up looking like. And it showed Cloud Strife and a little kind of courtyard, just dashing around, blocking, slicing people up with the Buster Sword. So the fact that they did part ways, Square Enix said they were taking back over control of the Final Fantasy VII Remake project. They ended their partnership with CyberConnect 2, at least in the sense of that game. But CyberConnect 2 could be taking on a lot of the stuff that they worked on for that game and transitioning it over to this Dragon Ball RPG. So that could be very interesting. It really depends on how much time they put in with Square Enix to soak up some of those RPG mechanics. So we could very likely be looking at a Dragon Ball version of Final Fantasy 15 coming out here really soon. And again, I'm kind of excited by that. I know Final Fantasy 15 wasn't the best in the series, but I enjoyed playing it with Dragon Ball Z characters that I know and love. I think I would enjoy playing it even more, especially if it was solid, intuitive combat, good controls, really impressive stuff going on like in Asura's Wrath, game developed by this company. You end up fighting one enemy that's like equally the size of the moon or the planet itself, and his thumb is the size of, an entire continent, and you end up contesting him with a bunch of punches and QTEs. And I remember playing that, really enjoyed it. It really had a great sense of scale and action in that game. So this company here does have some good credentials and some good leeway, some benefit of the doubt for making some reasonable games. I personally, again, never got into the Naruto franchise, the Shippuden series. I know, again, it mingles a lot of anime cutscenes with some, closed arena-style 3D fighting. And then, as well, they made the .hack that I'm not super familiar with. But we can just see this list right here, going all the way back to 1998 with the Tail Concerto. The first .hack game, I was close, was 2002. I said 2003 for PlayStation 2, not PlayStation 1. That's interesting. I thought it started on PS1, but I was wrong. In 2002, of course, the Naruto Ultimate Ninja was in 2003, so they've had a lot of time to tweak their fighting game systems that they like to run with. They've been doing it for well over a decade, well over almost 2 decades now, getting close to, but not quite. Now he's still about 4 years off. But again, then we have .hack, Naruto, .hack, Naruto. It seems to be a lot of most of what they've worked on. Then we have right here 2012 Asura's Wrath on Xbox 360. Again, that was published by Capcom. That was a great game. I thoroughly enjoyed that one, so no issues there. JoJo's Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battle on the 2013 on PlayStation 3. You see a lot of their work here is with Bandai, and I like how it's changed. So Bandai Namco Games, Bandai Namco Entertainment, and then a couple others here and there. Square Enix was the mobile game, I believe, right here at Final Fantasy VII G-Bike, and then more Naruto, stuff I've never heard of, and then we get down here to the Dragon Ball Project Z. So, and then a VR game they're working on as well. So it'll be very interesting to see how this all pans out. Again, hopefully I scaled across some gameplay footage for you of these various games that I enjoyed. Definitely Asura's Wrath was really good. I can't speak for too many of the others, but I know there are plenty of fans of the Naruto game, so we don't really need that anymore there. And then, you know, getting past the actual game developer themselves, the genre of RPG with Dragon Ball has gone back for, like I had mentioned earlier, quite a while. There's nothing new about this mixture of Dragon Ball and role-playing games. I think the oldest one that I remember was on the Super Nintendo. I have no idea how to pronounce the name of it. It was like Super Saiyan Dentetsu or something like that. Again, I butchered the heck out of that, I know. But it was like, you know, a Final Fantasy-esque top-down. You had your sprite, you walk around, you talk to other players, and then you get into fights, and that'd be like a card-based mechanic where different cards would be, you know, very similar to Legends almost, where you'd have the special move card, the melee, the key attack, the healing and the recharge cards, then items with sensu beans, stuff like that. You had a certain amount of key you could spend on your fights before you had to go to an inn or rest at a tent and a save point, basically kind of like Final Fantasy. So hopefully I can find a little bit of footage of that game. But I do remember that one, and then after that, probably like the Legacy of Goku on the Game Boy Advance, and then there were some good DS games. Those are all examples of games that I enjoyed playing that were Dragon Ball role-playing games, or RPG mechanics that were kind of like soft RPGs, I guess you could say. They're nothing like Dungeons and Dragons or Final Fantasy. Then we had another weird one that I mentioned earlier called Dragon Ball Z Sagas, which again, even for its time, was an awful game. This is just an example here of the direction we do not want this Project Z to take. So as you can probably see some gameplay footage of Sagas, just really no depth to it, very shallow game, not even very good looking. So this is not to say that Project Z is condemned to that same fate. Again, this is a completely different game studio than Sagas was developed by. They had nothing to do with each other. It's just a good example that hopefully the developers have learned from, and something that we want to avoid. We want something that's much more similar to Asura's Wrath, with huge cinematic stuff going on screen, maybe some light QTEs, with a lot of button combos that feels like it has depth, something you have to learn, and something that feels rewarding. I really would enjoy playing a game like that, even if it starts off again near the beginning of the saga and takes us all through that, hoping, with fingers crossed, it would be episodic to continue into the Cell and Majin Buu arcs, then into Super, you know, maybe some side story stuff even with GT. There's a lot of potential with a brand new game series, you know, a new IP. It's not new IP in terms of it's still Dragon Ball, but it's a new entry into the world of Dragon Ball gaming. Hopefully they take the genre and they spin it and they do it right. Not like Sagas, not like Battle of Z, which again, I don't have too much experience of, but it just looks like an upgraded version of Sagas to a degree. I'm not sure to what the extent of multiplayer is in Battle of Z. In Sagas, there was some cheesy co-op. It made the game a little bit more enjoyable, but at the end of the day, it was just kind of like, you know, a very precursor version of Marvel Ultimate Alliance or Streets of Rage from like a 3D perspective, where you just punch and special move every once in a while, and that was pretty much it. So that's about all the information I have up to this point, you guys. Again, we don't know a whole lot. We did see some potential maybe pre-alpha gameplay with the Goku walking around with those different camera angle pans. Other than that, it appears the game is going to be highly cinematic, questionable levels of multiplayer, and I'm going to stick with reporting on this game, you guys, at least up until the point as to whether we find out whether it stinks or if it's going to be really good. If it's really good, I'm definitely going to pick it up, in addition to as well probably the Super Dragon Ball Heroes World Mission for Switch, and check those out as both viable options for content on the channel. If it seems like it's not going to be that good, we'll probably move in a different direction. But by the time this game is out, I will have my new PC, so hopefully we can explore this world of Dragon Ball Z together, just like we have in my overlay right now, with Goku walking on the world right here. I think that would be a lot of fun, you guys. Hopefully this game is really, really good. I have a lot of hopes for it. Keep my fingers crossed that this company takes a lot of good elements that they've learned from previous games, maybe some good stuff they pulled out of the Final Fantasy VII Remake work they did, stuff from Asura's Wrath, maybe some cool stuff from .hack. They compile all the good stuff that they've learned throughout their 20-ish years of experience making games, and they deliver us a really good experience here with really good delivery, with potential multiplayer, but a focus on gameplay and story, and good RPG mechanics to the likes we've never really seen in a Dragon Ball Z game to this day. I think that we have a product that we can all get behind and be excited for. So I will continue to keep you guys updated. If you're new here, consider subscribing and hitting the notification bell. I would supremely appreciate it. I'd love to see you again on future uploads. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking it, and that'll spread it out on YouTube a little bit, maybe share it around a little bit. I think I went more in depth with all we know about this game than most other journalistic sources did, so hopefully you guys enjoyed it. If not, oh well, you know, I tried. I will be back again in the future. Again, you guys, have a great week, and if you have any questions or comments about the game, what we know so far, anything else, definitely leave them down below. I'll try to respond to everybody. I hope you all have a good one again. Peace out, and we'll see you soon. Later, you guys.